Across the breadth of our planet's deep history, the recurring spectre of ice has been both destroyer and sculptor of worlds. When we consider the ice ages, our minds conjure images of woolly mammoths treading across tundra, saber-toothed cats stalking through blizzards, and early humans huddled in caves as glaciers crept ever southward. These epochs of cold are typically cast as the result of cosmic clockwork, the slow, intricate ballet of Earth's orbit, axial tilt, and the distant pulse of the sun. But what if the story is not so simple? What if, in the shadows of scientific certainty, there exists another narrative? One where the Ice Age is not merely a consequence of nature, but the product of conscious intervention? Could the deep freezes that have shaped and ended entire civilizations be the result of a hidden hand, a technological reset, or even an extraterrestrial design? To unravel this riddle, we must first ground ourselves in what is known. Earth's ancient record is etched with cycles of warmth and cold, life and extinction. The Huronian glaciation, over 2 billion years ago, marks the first of the great freezes, a time when our blue planet was little more than a snowball spinning through the void. Since then, at least 5 major ice ages have swept across the continents, each leaving behind scars of stone and sediment, each altering the trajectory of evolution. The most recent, the Quaternary glaciation, still lingers. We live today in a brief intermission between acts, a warming respite before the next curtain of frost. The mechanisms behind these ice-bound eras are in many ways well understood. The orbital cycles described by Milutin Milankovitch, subtle shifts in the tilt and shape of our planet's journey around the sun, change the distribution of sunlight, setting the stage for glacial advance and retreat. Volcanic eruptions can shroud the sky in ash, reflecting the sun's warmth and plunging the earth into chill. Levels of greenhouse gases rise and fall, sometimes trapping heat, sometimes letting it slip away into the blackness of space. Yet, as with all grand narratives, there are chapters that do not fit. Certain glaciations have arrived with astonishing speed, and some have ended almost overnight in geological terms. These anomalies have fueled alternative theories, stories that stretch from the plausible to the fantastical. Among the most provocative is the notion of a cosmic trigger. The idea that an impact from space could suddenly tip the balance, turning warmth to winter in a matter of weeks. The story of the dinosaurs' demise is well known. A colossal asteroid strike, a world engulfed in fire and darkness, and a swift descent into cold that annihilated most life. But could a similar event have ushered in or intensified an ice age? The evidence is tantalizing. During the Younger Dryas, some 12,800 years ago, the Earth, having begun to thaw from its last glacial maximum, was thrust back into an abrupt and severe cold. This reversal has puzzled scientists for decades. The prevailing theory is that meltwater from retreating ice sheets disrupted ocean currents, but a more dramatic hypothesis suggests that fragments of a disintegrating comet struck the North American ice cap, vaporizing vast quantities of ice and injecting dust and debris into the atmosphere. In the aftermath, sunlight would have been blotted out, temperatures would have plummeted, and the world would have been plunged back into a frozen epoch. While this theory is controversial, the evidence, microscopic spherules, nanodiamonds, and rare elements like platinum deposited in the layers of that era cannot be easily dismissed. If true, It hints at the profound vulnerability of our climate to external shocks. But while cosmic catastrophe is awe-inspiring in its randomness, another possibility is more unsettling. The notion that an ice age could be manufactured, intentionally or otherwise, by intelligent actors. In the modern era, humanity has begun to experiment with the weather, probing the boundaries of what is possible. The 20th century saw the birth of geoengineering, efforts to tame hurricanes, seed clouds, and even manipulate the ionosphere for military advantage. Programs like Project Cirrus and Project Stormfury in the United States, and similar initiatives in Russia and China, sought to bend the atmosphere to human will. While cloud seeding to induce rain is widely known, more ambitious technologies have been theorized. The High-Frequency Active Auroral Research Program, HERP, for instance, has been the focus of intense speculation. Could such installations, designed to study the ionosphere, also be used to disrupt weather patterns on a global scale? The truth remains elusive, shrouded in secrecy and conjecture. The most plausible method of engineering a cooling event lies in the concept of solar radiation management. By injecting aerosols, tiny reflective particles, into the stratosphere, it is theoretically possible to reduce the amount of sunlight reaching the surface, thereby cooling the planet. This idea is not mere fantasy. It has been seriously discussed as a way to counteract global warming. Volcanic eruptions like Mount Tambora in 815 offer a natural precedent. That cataclysmic blast filled the sky with ash, leading to the infamous year without a summer, when crops failed and famine stalked continents. But what if such an event were replicated artificially, on a larger scale or with more precision? The result could be catastrophic, a new ice age, not born of nature's indifference, but of human hubris, error, or design. In a world where geopolitical tensions run high and the tools of climate manipulation become ever more accessible, the possibility, however remote, cannot be entirely dismissed. Yet the roots of this idea run deeper than technology. They reach back into the myths and memories of ancient civilizations. Stories that speak of sudden winters, great floods, and worlds destroyed by ice and fire. In the texts of Mesopotamia, India, and the Americas, we find tales of cataclysms visited upon humanity by angry gods or cosmic cycles. Some researchers, often dismissed as fringe, suggest that these myths are not mere allegory, but encoded memories of real environmental disasters, perhaps even of intentional resets. Consider Göbekli Tepe, the enigmatic monument buried beneath the Turkish earth for millennia. Its construction, over 11,000 years ago, coincides with the end of the Younger Dryas. Was it built to commemorate survival, to warn future generations? The site was deliberately entombed, as if its builders sought to preserve something through an age of chaos. Then there is the legend of Atlantis, as told by Plato, a mighty civilization, obliterated in a single day and night. Was Atlantis lost to a sudden flood, an earthquake, or perhaps a rapid onset of glaciation? Some theorists go further, suggesting that advanced cultures may have possessed technologies capable of altering the climate, and that their misuse led to their undoing. While such ideas remain speculative, they serve as reminders of the cyclical nature of history and of humanity's enduring fascination with the prospect of a reset, whether by fate or by design. In the realm of spirituality and symbolism, ice has always held a special power. It is the force of purification, the harbinger of silence and stasis. In Norse mythology, the world is born from the meeting of fire and ice, and its end is foretold in both flame and frost. Hindu cosmology describes vast cycles of creation and destruction, of darkness and light, that mirror the alternation of glacial and interglacial periods. Across cultures, the image of a world frozen, a civilization entombed in ice, serves as both warning and promise. It is the ultimate reset, erasing the past and making way for something new. But what of today? Are we, perhaps unknowingly, standing at the threshold of another great freeze? The signs are ambiguous. The Earth's magnetic poles are shifting, with unknown consequences for climate and life. The jet stream, which governs weather across the northern hemisphere, has grown erratic. The Atlantic meridional overturning circulation, a vital conveyor of warmth, shows signs of weakening, an event that, if it accelerates, could trigger abrupt cooling across Europe and North America. Our sun, too, is entering a period of diminished activity, a so-called grand solar minimum. History tells us that such periods have brought colder temperatures. The Maunder minimum in the 17th century saw the Thames freeze and harvests fail. While most scientists warn of a warming world, a minority caution that sudden cooling remains a possibility, especially if triggered by a volcanic eruption, a nuclear exchange, or reckless geoengineering. The spectre of engineered disaster looms particularly large in an age of uncertainty. The same technologies developed to protect us from climate change could, if misused, tip the scales in the opposite direction. In a world of shifting alliances and rising tensions, the temptation to wield climate as a weapon may prove irresistible. A synthetic ice age, whether accidental or deliberate, would be a catastrophe beyond imagining, disrupting food supplies, displacing populations, and erasing the fragile achievements of civilization. Yet, perhaps there is a lesson in the ice. Each glaciation, each long winter, has ended in renewal. Life has persisted, adapted, and flourished in the aftermath. The cycles of freeze and thaw reflect deeper truths about our world and ourselves. That change is inevitable. That power can be both creative and destructive. And that every ending is also a beginning. Whether the ice age is natural or artificial, random or designed, it serves as both a warning and a challenge. Are we prepared to face the cold, should it come again? Do we possess the wisdom to wield the tools of creation without courting destruction? In the end, the mystery of the artificial ice age is not just a question for scientists or historians. It is a story about memory, about the limits of knowledge, and about the choices we make when confronted by the unknown. The ice may be a message, etched into the stone of time, reminding us that history repeats, that civilizations rise and fall, and that true mastery lies not in control but in understanding. So as we look to the future, as we scan the horizon for signs of warming or warning, we must ask ourselves not whether the next ice age will come, but whether we will recognize its approach and whether we will meet it as victims, as survivors, or as stewards of a world forever changed by the cold. And perhaps, in the final reckoning, the deepest chill is not in the air nor in the ice, but in the truths we choose to ignore and the histories we allow ourselves to forget. The frost of amnesia, the silence of forgotten warnings, may be the most dangerous winter of all. For in the cycles of ice and fire, of rise and reset, it is not just the earth that is tested, but the spirit of mankind, its memory, its humility, and its resilience in the face of forces beyond comprehension.